If you want to start photography in 2024, then you need to try what I'm going to tell you in this video because you don't want to make the same mistakes that I made when I was just starting out. My name is Tim and I have been doing landscape photography for a little over 6 years now, and I've even won a couple of awards regarding my landscape photography, such as in the moment and in the camera store. But if I were to start photography in 2024, I'll do things a lot differently. When I first started, it cost me a lot of money, it cost me a lot of time, and I focused on the wrong priorities. And the best that I can do now is share my experience and my mistakes so that you do not make the mistakes that I did when I was just starting out. I started photography in 2018 because I wanted to take better pictures for Instagram. I've always liked taking landscape photos and it's something that I'm passionate about, but I've always just used my iPhone. So I gave photography a shot and I wasn't sure if I'm going to stick to it or not, but I did it anyway. I went in without hesitation and I bought myself a camera. My first camera was the Sony A5000. Right now I'm using the A6600. This is my second camera, but the first camera that I was using is the Sony A5000. And in my opinion, that camera wasn't too bad. It was able to interchange lenses. It was lightweight. It has a flip out screen, and it's 20 megapixels. So it was okay for social media, and that was it. That's kind of how I started in photography. I didn't really know much about photography at the time, but the more that I took photos, the more I enjoyed taking more photos. And the more that I enjoyed taking more photos, I wanted to improve in how I create those photos. So I just got me all hooked up in photography that I couldn't stop. And I'm gonna share more of my experience later on, but if I were to start photography this year and I'm starting from zero, I would do things a lot differently. So if you are starting photography in 2024, you should do these 5 things. But before we get to the rest of the video, social media marketing is such a big part of photography, and if you're interested in landing a career as a social media marketer, or if you feel like your experience is holding you back from getting the career that you really want, then I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University, or SNHU. SNHU is one of the largest accredited nonprofit online degree offerings in the nation, and I want to talk to you about their bachelor's degree in social media marketing. In this program, you'll learn how to leverage social media, engage consumers, build loyalty, and drive business. This is a great program if you want to be a content creator, community manager, or social media strategist. You'll also learn other vital digital marketing skills such as SEO and how to run advertising campaigns. What's great about SNHU is they have multiple terms that start throughout the year, so you can complete your degree at your own pace, and they have 24/7 accessibility so you can attend class whenever it's convenient for you. What's great also with SNHU is that they're also radically affordable. They're one of the lowest rates in the nation. So go to snhu.edu/Timoteo, which is my link in the description below, where you can find free information regarding the bachelor's degree in social media marketing. If you press that free information, a real person will hop on a call and discuss how the program will benefit you personally. So once again, use my link, snhu.edu/Timoteo, and the link is also in the description below, where you can find free information regarding the bachelor's degree in social media marketing and other degrees that SNHU has to offer. Thank you SNHU for sponsoring this video. Now let's go back to the video. If you want to start photography in 2024, I'm going to tell you right now, do not start with gear. Starting with gear is an expensive way to start. And you might be thinking, if I don't have gear right now, well, how am I supposed to learn photography? I'm going to go back to that later on. But right now, my mistake is that I started with gear. In my opinion, you don't need to buy a starter camera and then upgrade later on. You don't need to do any of that. All you need to do is get a camera to get started. In my opinion, you need to learn what you want to do with the camera, what photography you want to do, and then you need to research what kind of camera brand that you want to go into. Because like I said, if you are not clear, then you're going to be exchanging cameras, and if you start with that, it's going to be an expensive way to start your photography career. From my experience, Sony cameras tend to be the most versatile. They have a lot of camera bodies that are ranging from budget to more expensive. They have options for APS-C and full frame, and they have a lot of options for lenses, not just Sony lenses, but also third parties such as Sigma, Tamron, Camland, T-Artisans, Meiki, Samyang. Like, there's a lot of lenses that is available for you when you buy a Sony camera. If you want to take photos with more film simulations, then the best option probably for you is a Fujifilm. And what I've heard from people is that Canon cameras have the best color profiles. So you need to know your intention and what you're going to use the camera for, and you need to research on what kind of camera is best for you. In my experience, I jumped in with the camera. I stuck with the Sony right away, and I bought a Sony A5000, and like I said, the camera is pretty good. It's okay for social media. I ended up buying a starter camera and then upgrading later on, and as I mentioned, that is an expensive way to start. So if you are not to start with gear, if you're not to start with buying a camera, how are you supposed to learn photography? And that is going to be my next point. Then start using your smartphone. Yes, you can start your photography with just your smartphone, and no, I'm not crazy, so don't click off this video and let me explain why. You can learn a lot of photography skills now with just your smartphone. If I were to start all over again in 2024, I would have just started with smartphone, because you can learn a lot of that stuff with photography skills in your smartphone. You can learn about ISO, aperture, shutter speed with your smartphone. There are a lot of apps these days that lets you play around with those settings. And if you don't know what ISO, aperture, and shutter speed are, then you're already in a bad position if you want to get into photography. If you don't know anything about ISO, aperture, and shutter speed, then you are setting yourself up for frustrations, because the photos that you envision will not turn out the way that you envisioned because you didn't learn those 3 things. And if you don't know anything about ISO, aperture, and shutter speed, then if you have a camera that you bought right away, you're gonna turn that camera into auto mode and you're just like shooting from an iPhone. But there's another skill that you should learn, and you can do it from your smartphone, which leads me to my third point. If I started my photography in 2024, is third, I would master composition. Composition is probably the most important thing that you need to learn if you're going to jump into photography. The rule of thirds and leading lines are the most basic in photography, and even I'm still having trouble with those things. And lack of skill regarding composition will either make or break your photos, so you need to master composition. And once again, you can do that with your smartphone. But there's an even bigger skill that you need to learn that you can do with your smartphone, and which leads me to my fourth point. If I were to start photography in 2024, I would learn lighting. Lighting is so important in photography, and if you learn lighting, you can take amazing photos in every situation. You need to learn about golden hour, side lighting, backlighting, and front lighting. My mistake when I was just starting out is that I just took photos whenever it's golden hour or sunset, because that is the best for landscape photographers, but it didn't really push my creativity. In my opinion, some of the best photos that I took now probably are in noon, because I was able to learn about lighting. And lastly, if you want to start photography in 2024, the fifth reason that you need to consider is that you need to consider about video. I know this is about a photography lesson, but hear me out. For now, you might be only doing photography, but the more you step into this craft, the more you're gonna learn that there is more to it than just taking photos of whatever you want. Later on, you might want to share those skills in videos, such as in YouTube, and especially with all the platforms these days are pushing more video out, such as YouTube, IG Reels, TikTok, even YouTube Shorts. So you don't want to buy a camera now and next thing you know, you need to upgrade later on because it can't do a great video. So consider video while you're doing photography right now. Now, what if you made a mistake? What if you started photography now and you were like me, you already bought your first camera as a starter camera? What should you do? Well, you can't take back time, but what you can do right now is learn steps 2 to 5 right now. Learn about composition, learn about ISO, aperture, shutter speed, learn about lighting, and learn about video right now as well. Do the best you can to improve your creativity. Do the best you can to improve your skills. If you're starting photography in 2024 or right now, remember that photography is not about how well your gear is. It's about your skills and it's about your creativity and what makes a great photo. Obviously, you're going to need a camera, but once again, it is your skills and it is your creativity on what's going to make the photo incredible. What's amazing about photography is that it's like a community looking at the same scenery, but all of us have a different perspective on it, and you're able to share that perspective to others. So what I'm able to accomplish with my photography will be different from what you're going to accomplish with your photography. But the most important thing is that you started.